Today's conversation, hand in hand with G Sport for Women. They helping us along on this journey of today's conversation. I don't know how to feel because, people speak about the heroes that they've met. And when people speak about the heroes in South African politics, social spaces, social spheres, etc., and even in sport, very few come as giant as what sits in front of me now. Our freedom was fought for in many different ways, not just on the political, battles and war grounds. It was fought by musicians who sang us to power, who kept us going, from singing "We Miss You, Manelo" to singing "Freedom is Coming Tomorrow." And even the ones who sang bubblegum to keep us going and entertained and kept us sheltered away and almost wearing blinkers from the realities and the harshness of our lives. That's what the musicians did. The Miriam Makebas left this country to go spread that good gospel outside of South Africa because people would listen to them because they wanted something they had. And if you don't want to listen to them, they put it in the music. Well, in sport as well, it was exactly the same. There are those that fought for this country by doing what they loved. I mean, we've spoken about Zola Budd. We've spoken about Zola Budd, who ran barefoot because that was a mimic of everything that she had known growing up, running alongside with other black girls. When she was asked all the way overseas, she said, "This is all I know because where I come from, me and the black girls I run with who can't be here, unfortunately, this is how we do it." Well, tonight, we've got another remarkable story. A netball phenomenon that kept South Africa talking for nearly 20 years as she excelled in the game she loved, but in a game that didn't love her back at the time. She won a treasure chest full of awards along the way. Her name is Hazel Special Gumede, former player and now a coach. And today, it's even bigger and better that we have this, Mom Hazel, because South Africa is hosting the Netball World Cup. I don't know why you're not there because we're playing today as well. I don't know why you're not sitting courtside. I don't know why the camera doesn't go to you when we're scoring to say, there she is, she must be so proud. But nonetheless, I'm glad you're sitting here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Andile. Thank you for having me here.
It's good to have you, man. Are you well, ma?
It's good to be here.
See, people don't know, because you're used to working with young people so much, you've got a youthful energy about you.
Yeah, because, like my girls, they always keep me on my toes. They let me dance. They let me do stuff with them. So, yeah.
Ma, let's go back. When did you first fall in love with netball?
Oh, Andile, it was, I think it was around 1976.
1976? Yes. How old are you in 1976?
I was 15. I was still at, we called it higher primary.
Mm-hmm.
It was during the times of uprising, the June 16 uprising. And at that time we were playing basketball, but not the American basketball. It was called korfball at that time. Okay. So I played korfball. I played tennis. I was an athlete.
Where's this, by the way? Where in South Africa? Is this in Soweto?
Deep in Soweto.
Deep in Soweto.
Yes, in a small township called Mfulo South.
Mfulo.
Yes, Mfulo. So, yeah, that is where my journey started. But because of financial constraints, I had to quit tennis because it was quite expensive. And I was recruited to play netball when I went to high school. Then that is when I started. And yeah, then I started enjoying it.
What position? You look man. You look like a center.
Yeah, no, I was dangerous on.
Oh, you're GS?
No, I was goal attack.
Goal attack, yeah, even.
I was goal attack. And I watch it at the games, and I'm like, I'm still missing a Hazel Special Gumede.
Where did you get the nickname Special?
I got this nickname from Putmika Mulife from the Sowetan newspaper. He was always covering our stories, coming to Elka Stadium when we play. And the next thing, boom, I'm Hazel Special Gumede. But I had a lot of nicknames, because at some stage I was called Professor Hazel, You know that gangster that was, that was Mish Mutlowung, also from, no, he was from The World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, The World back. Yeah, that's a long time ago. The
it's a long
World.
time ago, you know. The 2000s don't even know what I'm talking about.
But I asked myself, I mean, in that era, the 70s, with all that's happening in and around you, just to paint a picture of that time in your eyes, when you think back at it, when you retrospectively now look at who Hazel was and what was happening in and around you, how aware are you of what's happening around you? Do you even have faith with what's happening around you of where this netball thing could take you? Because this is deep in the time of 76. And we know that as much as the whole country was contaminated and this thing had spread, Soweto was the epicenter at some point.
Andile, it is just heartbreaking to see Soweto at this point, and that not a lot of township girls have the opportunity to play netball. That is a painful situation, because when you think of a child that goes to school in the township where there is no sport at all these days, so if a child is not in a private school, then there's no sport for her. If a child from a private school don't go to varsity, then there's no hope for her. But what broke my heart even more was when I was at Cape Town, and at this opening ceremony, thanks to Kes Naidu, you know, from G-Sport, who just thought, you know,
it's only right that you're there.
It is my right to be there.
It's only right that you're there.
So that is how I got there. But, you know, like the previous years, it will be, the quota will be 7-5. And I walk in there's 3 players of color on that bench. And I'm like, girl, so you've been wasting your time all along. Because I thought on this day and age, we will have a fair representation, because we are a rainbow color. We are a rainbow nation.
I want to get into that, Renoma. I want to get into that, and I want to go to where it started versus where it is now. Have we improved? Are we proud when we're watching the Spa Pro Chairs do their thing right now? Are we well represented across that spectrum? Let's take a quick break first. It's 24 after the hour 6, celebrating women on this a beautiful Women's Month that began so beautifully with Banyana Banyana, as well as the Spa Pro Chairs doing their thing alongside G Sport for Women. We are here speaking to the legendary Special, former player and now coach, Hazel Special Gumede joins us. Hazel, and you know, I always say that my kids could never begin to understand. I mean, I tell them the stories and I read to them and I speak to them about so much of who we are as a past. And they can never quite get it. So stories like ours are so important, because in order to understand where you are now and why that's such an amazing feat and why that's such an amazing place to be at, is because you got to look at where you came from. And when you're speaking about 1976, 77, 78, those years, growing up in Soweto, which is what I was alluding to a little bit earlier, I want you to paint a picture for me. Playing netball in 1976 as a black girl in the township. Because I would think that, do you even think there's a future? You can't represent your country. You can't hardly play outside of Soweto. You can't play against the best white kids. You can't play against the best Indian kids, and so on and so on. So this netball, what was it to you?
I think, Andile, it was more of an antidepressant, because you know how rough it was, you know, during 1976, you know, up to the 80s. So all we would do, we would go to the netball field and play, and then you'll find a hippo passing by, and then we have to run and go to the nearest yard, you know, for cover and safety. So it was rough around that time.
So you're playing with one eye on the ball, the other on the hoop, and your third eye is watching for if a police hippo. And for those that don't know, because we call it a hippo, but it's a police Nyala vehicle, those big ones that are used nowadays for the army. Back in the day, those were standard for police as well in South Africa. I remember there was yellow ones that were called the Melo Yellow and the likes.
Yes.
So there was many of those things. So, and that's why I'm thinking to myself, you know, you play netball, it's just for fun, or do you think and hope, and do you know that this could be something that one day could be your life, or is it just because because I need something to do?
Andile, the only people I knew were my black sisters. Because we were playing in SANA, that was South African Netball Association, but it was only blacks. So we would play our provincials and we will go to different places. And, to get the money to get to those places, it was a hassle. And we will depend on, we call them Abo Preza, and those were maybe now we call them presidents, of netball. So those are the people who were keeping us going. And we didn't even have shoes.
What shoes were you using to play netball? Because the most comfortable and obviously is, netball shoes are running shoes, those kind of sneakers, tackies. What were you guys playing in?
Court shoe. We were playing with whatever shoe that we find on our way.
School shoe, yonkind.
Zonke wonke. And we will be changing. You'll be wearing one shoe and then you give the other shoe to the other person. And we were playing.
To play with one shoe?
One shoe.
And the other one doesn't have shoes at all, so you give him the one?
You give her the one. So we were exchanging shoes. Sometimes we'll play with shoes without shoelaces. But then we didn't even see. I realized that we were poor. When I was told, that there's white people that, eat fancy food, or when my grandmother comes from work and, bringing a toast. Just a toast. The highlight was when they brought tea bags, because before we were using tea leaves.
What are tea leaves? Now I'm getting schooled. What are tea leaves?
When we make tea, we were using a teapot.
Okay. So then you would cook the leaves in it.
The leaves.
I hear you. So you'd actually boil and cook the tea. Yeah. You'd literally cook the tea, which is also the best form of tea, is what I'm hearing. And then there comes your grandmother with tea bags.
Tea bags. And guess what we did with those tea bags? We had the stoop, where...
Outside, yeah.
Outside. And it was raining. And we saw, man, these things, when you put them in water, they change color. And we put all the tea bags.
No, that's stupid.
We didn't know that.
You must have gotten a whooping of note.
We didn't know that it was tea. We just thought, this thing, you put it in water, it changes color. Okay, let's put it on the stoop.
Yo, you didn't get into trouble?
We got into trouble. Remember, we didn't have rights that time.
Not like kids today.
No.
You said something that is quite powerful that I've always believed in, because growing up, Mzimkhulu Kukwini, which is a very rural community till this day, you don't know, even in the townships, you don't know that you're poor. You don't know that you're poor. Because everything you need and have, you eat in the morning, you eat ebusuku futhi, maybe if you're lucky during the day you'll get something. That's normal. That's how every family around you is. Today you have shoes, the other one doesn't have shoes. That's normal. That's how every family around you is. And where one lacks, the other family will always, put in a little bit more to balance out. You didn't know you were poor until you see others. And then when was your first time seeing these white girls that are playing netball, seeing others that are doing it with matching kit, town to bottom, to the socks, to the sneakers? When was your first experience of what it was supposed to be, in inverted commas?
I only realized that when we were invited to play at Regent's Park. Regent's Park, it was whites only. So we were this team from Soweto that went to play there. And when we get there, these people are wearing uniform. Everyone is wearing, the same skirt colors and stuff. It's a uniform. They have shoes. Everyone has shoes. And we're looking at each other, you come with your school uniform, your playing kit from school that you took without permission. And then the other one is coming, because we were from different schools. And after that, I'm like, man, there must be something wrong here. And then they chose me to be part of one of their teams.
Do you remember that game? That first game when you got there to Regents. Do you remember that game?
Regents Park. You know what I remember very well? I told the girls, because, I had Umalume, my uncle, who was a politician. And he always said, when you do something, do it to your full ability. And I told the girls, guys, we must make sure that these people sweat until they give us their shoes. Didn't we do that, Andile?
Wow.
Yeah, no. We just gave them a show for free.
Wow.
And they couldn't believe it. You won't believe me when I said they stopped the match before it was supposed to. Because they couldn't take it.
To spare the embarrassment.
They just couldn't take it. They just didn't understand. How does these black people who were eating half a loaf of bread with Fanta orange, and they come on cold and they do this? How? How is that?
You're eating what?
And at this point in time, you want,
And that's a treat as well. Fanta orange, and that's a treat.
Why?
That is a treat.
For us, it was a treat at that time. Like brown bread with Fanta orange.
Oh. Hey, Upopile.
We had a meal. Then we'll eat, and we didn't see anything wrong. We would eat, go on court, play, get in transport, go home.
But that game, that day, forms a big part of what changes your life.
I think that was the first time when I saw my name in the newspaper. The Sowetan.
What did the headline say? What did they write?
The first black player to represent Transvaal. Oh, Gauteng. You don't know that?
No. I know the Transvaal. Come on now.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Because that's what Gauteng was back in the day.
Back in the day. So I was going to play for Transvaal. We were going to go to Uppington for a provincial tournament. Yeah.
What year is this? Do you remember?
I think it was in 1980.
1980.
Yeah. It
It's
was in 1980.
you and all white other girls.
Andile, you look darker than black when you are there.
But here's my question then. How do you communicate?
Yeah. Bantu education, that is number one.
So you can Afrikaans praat.
Afrikaans who? For who?
Who's your angles?
Hey, I was trying the English.
Yes,
I was trying. It was.
You could communicate.
I communicated. And I could hear, when they speak Afrikaans, because when they don't want me to hear what they were saying, they'll speak in Afrikaans. So, but I'll be there. And because all I was interested in was to get on court and play my game, because that is where I was good at. So if you want to know me, put me under the pole. And then that was it.
Wow, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back on the other side, we carry on with this phenomenal story. But like I said, we're celebrating women. And Timmy, what? Mam Kize, what is she saying? Okay, she's got something. We'll go to her voice note in just a bit. But firstly, let's take a break. We've taken just a quick breather from the amazing story of Hazel Special Gumede, a former player and now coach in netball, currently with the Netball World Cup currently going on. The first ever black person to say she played in a multiracial South Africa, wearing a color that was dominant in the Transvaal color. But firstly, another phenomenal woman who's a friend of the room here. She said, hey, can I please come in? I've got a special announcement. When Mam Kiza calls, hey man, we answer that call. Mama Kiza, talk to us. What is going on?
Good evening, Andile and Spotlight Amplified listeners and fans. This is Mkiza, the president of Royal AM, all the way from London. I said, let me come and share the news with you first, Andile. Royal AM will be launching their stadium tomorrow, their home ground stadium in Pietermaritzburg at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. I would like to urge all the fans to come in and support us and make sure that the entrance is free. They just need to wear their regalia, and that's going to allow them access to the stadium. Let us come and have fun and celebrate this milestone with Royal AM. Andile, I know today it's your throwback Thursday, but you can do this because you share your name with my son. You are both Andile. So please, I'm thanking you in advance. Banyana, this is a shout out to you. You are doing us proud as a country in a Women's Month. Oh my God. You are showing them how it's done. Let's do this. I'm behind you all the way. I love you guys. Thank you very much. It's a wrap for now. Yeah.
Hey, nobody has more fun in life than Sean Mkiza. Tomorrow out at Herikwala Stadium, 4 o'clock, Royal AM, as the PSL kicks off, of course, tomorrow evening. Go make sure that you do join them. Skukuni United and Sundowns kick it all off. It's 6:40. Mom Hazel, from that, your career has just grown and grown and grown and grown. When you look back to it, I could never, in one sitting, and I don't want to, in one sitting, attempt to tell your entire story, because I want a reason to call you back. I want a reason to call you back time and time again to take another bite at this immense story. But to fast forward, now you're recognized in South Africa. Now you've played with whites. How far did that little ball that you had to watch alongside watching a police hippo, as well as the hoop that you became a master of, how far did that little ball take you?
It took me to countries that I never dreamt of. For me to be in a plane, to be out of Soweto, because, with my background, it was not possible for me to be out of Soweto, to go to another
Everything
province.
was stacked against you
Everything.
to even leave Soweto.
Just to leave Soweto. If I want to go to one place to another, it was just walking. But with netball, I managed to see different countries, and I managed to travel the world. And I managed to rub my shoulders with, like giants in sports. So that was the highlight for me.
Your story, obviously, is known to many of us, and it's touched a lot of us, and we're going to go at it over and over again. We're going to go at it. But I've got some people also that want to be a part of your story, and they want to say to you, yes, you were once upon a time that girl that didn't have matching shoes in a bus full of white girls that were speaking Afrikaans so you don't hear them. So they want to say thank you. They want to recognize you. People close and far. Let's start perhaps with this, and you can tell me afterwards if you know who this is. Have a listen.
Hello, it's me. Andile. Have a special day. I love you, and I will give you a kiss. Only if you keep it a secret, okay?
Okay, my skin. Oh my God.
My age ngendlela engiphefa ngakhona yazi ngiyathanda uthando onginika lona ngize ngiyakhohlwa nayizolo bengitshela boshoti ngithi hey ngiyalala nje ngivuka udla kulethwe ngiyagula kuhambe ngiyofunela i-medication uNkulunkulu ngathi angagcina ulokuba ulo muntu loyo othulile ngoba nala wakho sekungathi kokwami kusekhaya ngendlela i-treatment ongiphatha ngayo ngiyabonga. I'll always love you, my baby.
Who's that?
That's my mother.
Gumede. She is so proud of you. She sat there and she watched that, dodging bullets. She watched you come through all of that to be this person you are.
She did, Andile. She supported me all the way. She didn't have anything. She didn't get to to spend time with us because she had to work and look after white kids. She was a domestic worker. But when she got a chance, I knew I'll see my grandfather's kumbi at the netball field, and they were there, all of them. My whole family was so supportive. They will come and watch. And that kept me going. I knew we didn't have anything, but their support. That is why I get worried when I see kids playing and their parents are not there. But we understood at that time because they had no option for us to eat, for us to have clothes. They had to go and work. So, yeah, that was the hard part.
Because our parents would go look after kids that had it all when they have no idea what their own are doing. And that was your mom.
They had no idea that we missed them as well.
Because when you got onto that bus with those kids, when you guys arrived where you were going, their parents were there.
Their parents were there. They were
Yours
there all
were
the
looking
way.
after their houses.
Yes, making sure that when they come back, they have dinner.
And you had nobody to go back home to afterwards. To
Not at
tell,
all.
hey, it went like this.
No one.
I've got one more. Can we just play? I've got one more. Play that for me.
Hello, Grandma. It's Andile, Letiwe, and Nikiwe. We just wanted to let you know how much we love you and how grateful we are for what you do for us.
And thank you for being the most amazing grandma in the world.
And continue being the star that you are.
We love you. Bye.
So that's all your grandkids. We had Anel a little bit earlier on. That's Andile, Gama, Letiwe, and Nogiwe as well.
Letiwe and Nigiwe are actually my niece, but because their mother passed on in 2019, so I had to take them under my wing. So they are my kids now. Those are the two. There are three girls that I'm blessed with. The elder one is Ketiwe.
Now, like I said, there's so many people who your story resonates with because it's such a South African story. One other person is on the line now. Unomkosi is her middle name. But her other name that many now know her by is Professor Thuli Madonsela. And we've got her on the line. Prof, hi, how are you?
Hi, Andile, and hi, Hazel.
Hi, this is Thuli. Oh, what an honor. Oh my gosh. It is such
Well,
an
the honor
honor.
is mine. You know, we're neighbors. You are originally from Pula, and I'm from Tamini. And I once taught at Naledi High as an assistant teacher. But this is not about me. It's really about saying what a legend that you are, and so inspiring to me and to every girl who needs to dream and to know that whatever talent that you have, use it, and life will notice and give you space. And I'm paraphrasing you.
Thank you so much, Sissy. Thank you so much. I highly appreciate that.
Prof, we're talking a little bit earlier about the amazing story of Mom Hazel and, you know, what she had to go through in order to be where she is today. You know, the one thing that she said that really resonated with me was around the fact that she was a girl that really loved doing what she did and wanted to make sure that she was amazing at it, but she never knew that she was poor. You know, she never saw that around her. And now she sits here and is accepting all this accolade, but she still doesn't quite see what she's done. And I think it's so important every now and then that, you know, people like such as yourself remind her, tell her, show those people that have come through so much as to what it is they've achieved, because many times we don't see it with our own eyes.
No, that's true. Well, Hazel, you must know that you're a hero to all women of all ages and of all colors, because you model how to transcend adversity, how to use your talent, how to focus on your dreams regardless of circumstances. I was touched by the fact that when you were selected to go and play in Appington in the white-only team, eventually they didn't tell you that you, when are they leaving, because there was a whole lot of complaints about your inclusion. But that didn't deflate you. You continued to love the sport. You continued to focus on your goal. And because of that, you are a hero today. And in this month, as netball is beginning to be recognized, and hopefully you guys will start getting paid, we thank people like you for continuing to hold on and make sure that this sport gets raised. So you had to suffer both gender discrimination and racial discrimination, but here you are, a hero.
Yeah. Professor
Thank you,
Thuli
Sister
Madonsela,
Lee.
we really appreciate you coming through, because when you shine a light on others, it makes yours so much brighter, and you've done that today. We appreciate you, and thank you so much for coming on.
It's a privilege. Thank you, Goodbye.
Professor Thuli Madonsela, former public prosecutor, coming on, because it's that important, and I know you don't see it, and I know you don't feel it either, because we are at fault here. We haven't told you. We haven't shown you. We haven't. It's the World Cup, netball, it's here. There was no bus that went around with you on it saying, hey, we honor her and she is championing what's happening right now. You are the first to make sure that there is others after you. You didn't know what you were doing then. You were just a little girl doing what you thought best. But your parents, I am so proud, because they said, Hamba mtanam, and you were not scared. You went.
I went, and I never looked back. But I just want to say shout out to G-Sport. You know, in 2007, I got a visitation. We were at High Performance Center with the national team. I was the assistant coach then, and then they came to High Performance Center in Pretoria, and I didn't know them by then. And then we had an interview. I'm just talking, you know, like most people would love to have an interview with me. And then Kes said, we would like to invite you. We want you to talk to the school girls about netball and stuff. And when I got there, Andile, I remember it was the 1st of August. And, you know, the room is full of high-profile people. And I'm like, what am I doing here? You know, all the way from Soweto and stuff. And only to find that I was inducted for the G-Sport, you know, Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame, yeah.
The Hall of Fame that year. And that was the highlight of my life.
Well, I'm hoping that the rest of your life becomes a highlight reel, because you continue to still be selfless. You know, you continue in that same vein now. Let's hear from some of the people that have been listening to the show and what they've had to say to you, because I think it's important.
Good evening, Ma'a. Good evening, Ma'a. What a legend you have in studio there. What I can say to her is that Happy Women's Day. And Happy Women's Month, in fact. Happy Women's Month, and today's my birthday, in fact. So that's why I've said Happy Women's Day. So, yeah, today's my birthday and Happy Women's Month. Andile, netball in general, if you don't attend private school, public school, there's no netball. I can tell you that. Go to the rural areas of Limpopo, Northern Cape, Western Cape, wherever you can go. For you to excel or to be seen or to be recognized as a netball player, you need to attend private school. So I can tell you now that even if you can drive tomorrow morning and go to Kumelung Primary School, for instance, in Seapole Block 17, Wuluchi Secondary School, Mpapata all the way in Limpopo, you'll never find the netball court. Where are those netball court? So, yeah, no, they are not prioritized into our public schools. So I think the government should do something about it. And we as community as well must do something about it. But we as community, we can do only so much, but we do not get support. So what can we do if we don't get support? So yeah, it's something that we need to look at. So anyway, yeah, Banyana all the way, and the SPA protest all the way. Thank you. This is Salol.
And happy birthday,
block from Asapole Block 17. Thank you.
Good evening, Andile and Mom Hazel there. Hey, Mom Hazel, thanks for not giving up, even if it was tough time that times. We were poor, didn't have nothing, but out of that, you still believe in yourself about playing. Thanks, your story touched a lot of us. Thanks for your nice show as always, Andile.
Yeah, Bangami.
Evening, Miss Andile, Spashon Dusan from Transvaal. Yeah, what a legend of netball you have in the studio on Gumede. Yeah, what a beautiful story. Yeah, about past sports in our country. Yeah, and the same note, I would like to congratulate Mam Kids for the new stadium. All the best to them in the new season. Yeah, isn't just a game, it's just around the corner. Tomorrow, yeah, the first big game, Mamelodi Sundowns Super Sport, though we don't know when the game is gonna be played. Yeah, big up Joshua.
Good evening, King Andile. No Mama Hazel in the studio. Andile, I will stop listening to Thursday shows because the icons, the legend that you bring on the studios, the stories that they had to share with us, Andile, is so emotional. Like, it is painful. Yes, they are a great legend, a living legend. The story that they shared with us, Andile, oh, your Thursday shows tends to be so emotional. I wish you, Mama Hazel, all the best. You are just a living legend. We love you, King Emmanuel Raskhalaye at the Lansfante.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhalaye. It's that emotion is the root of who we are. It's the root of what this country is. It's the soil that we walk on. It's the blue clouds that we're under. That's what that emotion is. And we can't glide away from it and look back and just hope that it disappears. Let's go to Sinong in Polokwane. Sinong, you're the only one today. I can only take one, and I'm taking you. Talk to me.
Hey, hello, Andile.
Hey.
How are you, man?
Yeah, no, man, I'm good.
Yeah, it's me from Sinong in Polokwane. So, look, man, you have a true legend of netball right there. Look, and I want to say thank you very much, Mama Hazel, for your contribution into netball. If it wasn't of you, you won't be here today. You won't be hosting World Cup, Netball World Cup in South Africa. And so I want to 100%. Say, people like you, we really need them in this country. And you contributed a lot. And you might think a lot of people are not thinking about you, but we do, right?
So no, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. You know what I love about every single thing that you've just heard now? The voice notes, the calls. It's all men.
It's all men.
Showing you love, showing you respect. And trust me, there's millions of women listening. But they took their time to say, let us do this. What do you foresee? The future? What would you like to see? What for you would you sit back and be like, that was worth it because now this is happening? What are your dreams and your hopes and your wishes for this country, for its netball, for my young girls? I've got 3 of them. All of them play netball. Ntombi Thandayise, Talita, Araselia, netball players. I'm at the courts every day. And today, you have made me make sure that I will not be missing a game. Because when they look, they must see me. What is your wish for South Africa and its young women?
Andile, all I wish for is inclusion. If I can see your girls, my girls, playing in that national team, not as quota players, not for window dressing, but to be there on merit. To be rightfully so there, because we are South Africa. There's diversity in South Africa. That is why we are a rainbow nation. But do we see the rainbow? How many colors are there in a rainbow? Do we see those colors? So my wish, my dream is to see all that. And I think, Andile, I need to go back to development. I started street netball in 2009, and I left because of politics, people thinking I get money, and I was doing everything from my pocket that has holes, but I still did it because of seeing the hunger from the girls in the street to play netball.
Mom Hazel, it's sad that 46 years later, that's what we're saying. It's very sad. But like I said, this is not goodbye from us here. It's not the end of this conversation. In closing, one of my favorite words in the world is altruism, to be altruistic. And when you look at who said it best, I think Martin Luther King said that every man must decide whether they will walk in the light of creative altruism or in the darkness of destruction of selfishness. And I think so far we're in the latter. We need to get back to being more like you. Thank you for giving us your life.
Thank you, Andile. I think when you were mentioning the songs that brought South Africa together, you forgot the Not Yet Uhuru.
Oh, yes. Latambul.
Because it is not yet Uhuru.
It really isn't. Thank you so much to G Sports as well, Awards for Women, because we did this in collaboration with Cass Naidu and her team. Absolutely amazing, and we're truly grateful. Remember that go onto social media, follow all their pages. Nominations are open. Nominate your favorite women and let's award them. Let's recognize them. And I want to see a lot more men who bought tickets to go there and watch and support. It's 4 after the hour 7. It's been a phenomenon beginning to this A Women's Month. Thank you so much for choosing us. We appreciate you, and thank you so much to Mom Hazel, Special Gumede, to Cass Naidu and G Sports for Women for coming through for this one. For myself and my entire team, Timmy T, I see you. Pela. That's all.